Hey everyone, Network Field Day 33, day one, end of day one. The last company that we spoke with was RGNets. And going into this conversation, I had never heard of RGNets, but they've been around for quite some time. And honestly, I was surprised I had never heard of them. By the end of the conversation, I wish I would have heard about them a decade ago. And we'll get into why. So the very high level of where RGNet sits is think about um, if it's like an apartment complex or a hotel or even a hospital or anywhere where you have a lot of connectivity, but it's not all the same person or the same group. Like there's a lot of diversity in there as far as the services that you have to offer up for those groups. And their solution brings in a lot of the things that you would need to help those groups. So if that's billing, or like, think of it a hotel, if you need to do like a portal where, all right, you type in your name and your room number and it lets you online. Systems like that. They pointed out large stadiums, apartment complexes, hospitals, multi-tenant buildings, multi-tenant offices, whereas a place where they can serve as the platform to help you divide up and keep track of all that, as well as some interesting other features in there. So initially, when they started talking about it, I was kind of afraid because they brought this slide up and the the list of things that they do on there. So I've got it written down here. Is that they do NAT and DHCP and traffic shaping and IDS, and they have routing tables and SD-WAN and DNS and SD-WAN, and they can integrate with advertising and do content filtering, and this just goes on and on and on. And I got scared because it's a lot. Like these are a lot of services to be running off of a single box. And through some conversation with some of the other delegates, it turns out that I guess in those spaces, it's not uncommon to have devices like this. Apparently in colleges, so if you can run something like this at a dorm, that's basically like the perfect place for something like this to exist. So that was a little new for me to even think about. Is I've always thought about those things as individual services. Like DNS is it's always something separate, and DHCP is always something separate. And if you're going to be running some kind of captive portal, that's going to be part of whoever provides the access points or something along those lines. So thinking about it a little bit differently, it started to help me understand what it is they do and how beneficial it can be to all kinds of different groups. So one feature that they got into had a lot to do with. Um, so let's say you come into the platform and it's going to identify you as a user, and it's going to automatically provision you into a layer two domain. So think of like a hotel. So you get into your room and you authenticate in, but the TV already knows who you are, right? You go in and it says, "Welcome the whoever family." Well, how did that get provisioned? Through a system like this. So, all right, they have a tie-in that ties into the hotel management system. And now when your room has been assigned to you, it's assigned the TV to that room, and it creates a private, or not a private VLAN, but it creates a layer two domain for that room. So then you show up with your iPhone, your Android device, and you get onto the Wi-Fi, and now you're going to stream to the TV. Well, when you start the streaming or start like a screen share, you don't want to see every TV that's around you. You just want to see your TV. And I'm pointing to the TV that's in my room over there. So how do they do that? Well, if it's an MDNS discovery, you can't route that. That's all layer two discovery. So how do you make that to where you only see your TV? And that's one of the things that their system does. So all of the like the DNS and the DHCP, I sort of got lost in that space because it's not as if they're really trying to compete with those companies out there. what they're doing is giving you a way to help your customers, your users interact with the environment around them in a more secure way, in an easier way for them to operate with. So you log in, you give them your pre-share key, you say, "Hey, I'm so and so in this room," however that works, whichever way it works for whichever hotel, and you only see your TV because it drops you into that dynamically created VLAN that was specifically created for your room when you, as a customer, were created and started your stay and have been attached. And it made me think of so many different times where I've been trying to do similar things in the past. Like if you're running a lot of conference rooms, how do you make sure other people in different conference rooms aren't stepping on each other's toes? Well, you go into that room, and when you join the Wi-Fi, you use the code that's specific for that room, and you only see the display that's available for that room. I couldn't tell you the number of times that having something like that would have helped me out in my career, or at least made a solution a little bit better. It just, I don't want to say it blew my mind, but just knowing that they've been out for as long as they have, and and actually twist my mic there. Researching those things, I can't believe I never came across RGNets. So there's some other things in there that they did that were pretty nice as well. They have some location-based services in there. They've pre-written the integrations to talk to those other systems to extract some of that information so that you can see where things have roamed to throughout your network. They have the integrations in there for hotels to integrate into those systems as far as getting the customer information into it. And there's a lot more that they do within the platform that I'm really not going to be able to touch on all of because of how, like, really how many different things that they do. They came up with a platform that is just absolutely phenomenal for I run a space and I want to provide these network services to that space. So rather than try and dissect every single feature in there, I'll just call out one or two more things real quick. First being is that they have a fleet management software. So it's not just a bunch of individual devices out there. If you run a bunch of hotels or a bunch of apartments or anything like that, you can run them together. You can cluster them. So if you do it like a large airport or a sports arena, a stadium, something like that, that you can cluster them together to make sure it's not just one box that's getting bogged down. So if you're in a spot where you need to provide services to multiple people, lots of people, and keep them separated, keep them secure, offer them flexibility in how they connect, check out RGNets. There's a free trial where you can download and check it out. We didn't get too much into what's in the free trial as far as how limited it is. They did mention that their support, at least for the free side, is done through Reddit. So I'm definitely going to have to check some of that out. I'm definitely looking forward to learning more about RGNets. And one of the things that I said at the end is, I've said it a couple times on this video, is I wish I knew about this in the past. So instead of me trying to time travel back and tell younger Jordan about this, hopefully somebody else hears about this and looks into it, and it makes managing those conference room type setups easier for them. So that was RGNets. They were the third and final presenter of the day. I appreciate you tuning in and watching my feedback or listening to my feedback. Talk to you soon. Take care.